What it do, snackers, snackettes, snack X's? It's your boy Gage. I'm here with jokes. I'm here with Sin, and
Yes,
you
sir.
now tuned in to Loading Snacks Weekly, where we get together once a week and we talk about things that are happening in pop culture. And
Today,
today I want to know how much it bothers the viewers how often we play musical chairs with what position we're in. Yeah, you know, I just thought I'd throw it out there. See what's what.
Yep.
Today, what up, Cuddy? We obviously have to talk about the Xbox announcement of Call of Duty coming to Game Pass day one. We're gonna talk a little bit about Furiosa. Um, and we're going to talk about the importance of taking a mental break. So prepare yourselves for that. Um, I highly expect for the audience to be tuned in to this one. What up? Hey, Doctor Who, because it's gonna be a good one. Jokes.
mm-hmm.
You have a job to do.
Yup.
Um, Jokes is getting the beacons link up for you all to make it easier to find us, follow us, see what kind of shenanigans we are up to. Um, while he's doing that, Sin also has a job to do.
Yes. So let's shout out our top tier patrons, starting with Anthony Cunningham, Marcus Houston. I drew a blank right here in this moment for the first time in a very, very long time. But hey, it was bound to happen at some point. Marcus Houston, Susan Dortch, Tyrone Carson, Particular Skin, Alex Lee, Ellis Mbe, Kermit Ferguson, and Will Heward. Thank you very much. We truly, truly appreciate it.
0 days without incidents
Yep,
now.
just go ahead and mark it on the calendar. Just get mark it down.
Zero. Back to zero. Well done, sir.
I had to run while it lasted.
Man, listen. It's nice to see the Patreon crew growing a little bit. Shout out to Kidlet. Kind of sneaking in there,
Mhm.
back out. I see Kidlet's getting ready to make her own Patreon, and I love that.
I don't
So
think that's right, Candace. I'll let you try that again.
Hey, listen, hey, Sin, no, go ahead, put that up
It
there.
could be okay. I mean,
Hey, food
That's it.
evening. Hey,
I
look.
mean, it is. Had my Chick-fil-A already.
Oh, I had some. I had what I have chicken wings earlier. I had itis off of those things. Oof.
What kind of wings, bro? From where?
here we
Uh,
go.
from Golden Bowl,
From where?
Golden Bowl over in Largo Town Center.
Did you say Golden Bowl?
Golden Bowl.
Okay. All right. Okay. What's up, Sin?
Okay, I wasn't expecting Golden Bowl. I thought he was gonna go somewhere else with it, but okay.
Hey, bro, I wasn't either. But look, if it gave
I
him
know,
itis, it must have been decent.
but
You know
here's
what I
the
mean?
thing, Sin, you still haven't got that crown yet. So
No, I've
you
not got
That's
that
what he was
crown.
waiting for you to say.
That's what I was waiting for. Yeah.
I was waiting for you to say. Sin, you're such a hater, bro. Just do
I'm
it.
not a hater. I haven't had a taste for waffles. I'm not like a waffle guy. I'm more of a pancake French toast guy. I'm not like a waffle dude.
It's not about the
I'm gonna get them
waffles.
because
Bro.
y'all won't stop
Not about
hyping
the
it.
waffles, bro. It's not about the waffles. You have never ever heard me say, "Yo, the waffles at Crown Chicken and Waffle are so bomb." Never. You've not heard me say that. They're just waffles. But that chicken,
chicken
boy.
combination.
Woo.
Well,
Smoky.
that's what it looks like, Greg. We'll find out next week, apparently.
Ew. Um, Jokes, earlier today, you texted me. You texted us with some news.
Mm-hmm.
And then you proceeded to yell in our text chat like you normally do.
Hey, I just
Um,
had to yell Game Pass.
you're a yeller, bro. It's a thing. Doctor Who, you're right. Waffles are delicious. Um, Sin is weird. Hey now. Um, I'm not like I can't because if I start going down that like it's not like a known thing. It's like if I start going down that path, then
Yeah.
like I'm gonna try to keep us on the rails in some manner today. You know what I'm saying? We've been off the tracks like 3 times already. Like, like the show,
Just holding on,
we
like
haven't made
just
it to
drop
the first
on it.
topic technically.
Keep the balance.
It's we just been like leaning. Um, yeah, bro, you texted us today. Got a little loud in the chat as you tend to do. You know, with the all caps. Talk to me, bro. What's happening?
So we had known or been hearing that they were going back and forth about trying to figure out if they wanted to put the latest installment of Call of Duty when it comes out into Game Pass. But as of today, officially Call of Duty Black Ops 6 will be going day and date into Game Pass when it releases later this year.
How you feel about that?
I feel really good about that.
What up, Perp? Why is that? I don't. Do you do you play Call of Duty?
I play multiplayer. So I do some Warzone, but mostly like the multiplayer in the game that's online for it.
Okay.
So teams, capture the hill, like those type of modes than anything else.
Sam, what are your thoughts?
Uh, I'm waiting for the very loud PlayStation players to start sounding off how unfair this is that they giving Game Pass for free and they got to drop like $70 on it when it comes out. So
That's interesting. I wasn't expecting you to bring that up. Um, there's a part of me that feels like that's not going to happen. It's
what, the $70 part or
yeah, the complaint. Oh, they get whatever. Like I just because they can shut up and get it on PC. Like I don't what I mean. Like but they're not losing anything. Now what I will say is it will be very interesting to see if the Microsoft logo comes
shows
up
up?
on that joint when they run it the first time and they're like they start having like what I'm saying, some sort of a heart attack. Um she said PS fans are built different. They absolutely are. They're some of the most ridiculous people on the planet, but we're not gonna we're not gonna beat them up right now because there's no need at the moment. But we'll see how they act when the time comes. Um Here's what's interesting to me. We have known for approximately 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, that Microsoft is doing a direct on June 9th, and that they were following that up with a Call of Duty direct right after that. Why today? Why did they decide this morning? It feels like a random Tuesday to make the decision like, we're just gonna, because you could certainly hold on to that information and kind of make it a big moment to announce it. Then I'm gonna answer my own questions a little bit. Part of me feels like the closer we got to that date, that's all people were gonna be talking about. Yeah, but is it coming to Game Pass? Is it gonna be in there or not? What are you gonna do? Da da da. Whatever. That's one. Two, I'm already starting to see people I've heard this complaint before with Game Pass, but I'm starting to already see people kind of complaining about, okay, they're saying day one with Game Pass, but when they announce it, is it going to actually be day one with Game Pass? Or when you buy the super duper ultimate edition of Call of Duty and they tell you get to play 3 days early, 6 days early, whatever, are the Game Pass people now having to wait, even though they're saying day one, but that's not really day one?
I get what you're saying.
Kind of thing. There were people who complained about that with like Forza. There were people who, like it has been a thing. And to a certain extent, I understand that. Right? Like if you say day one, I think for me, day one is whatever the actual release date is. That's
that's
how
what
I
it's
feel
for me.
about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this whole like, nah, but you can da da da, now does that mean that if you're in Game Pass but you want to play it early, and the version that lets you play it early is $100. Do you have to drop $100 even though you could be getting it free in Game Pass? I highly doubt it. What I'm going to imagine is they're going to do the same thing they did with Forza, which is
Yep.
you can pay the difference for like the bonus edition that allows you
Hmm.
the early
Hmm.
access. So like you could
Battle
have paid
pass or whichever
$100 for
way they go
Forza,
about it. Hmm.
right? Like you can buy the battle pass separately, and if you buy the battle pass, you get in early, right? But you're not paying the full 70, and you're not paying the full 100 or whatever it is in order to get in. That's what I think is going to happen. That's my estimation. But that's the only reason why I feel like they would announce it now instead of waiting when we're like, again, about a week and a half out from them having a direct to give us all the information about it. So unless that is a thing that just wasn't built into it, and that meant no matter what they show at that direct, everybody's gonna be like, the comments on that live joint on YouTube was gonna be like, Game Pass or no?
Game Pass, Game
You
Pass,
can get
Game
in Game
Pass,
Pass. What
Game
we doing?
Pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just gonna be
Phil
flooded with
Spencer
all of
would have
that, and
walked
now you,
out afterwards and then said at the very, very end, yeah, it's coming to Game Pass.
yeah, you. I mean, you just kind of kill all of that, right? And like Microsoft, in my opinion, they need a win right now. Like they needed some sort of good news to come out, around this, right, and get that kind of out of the way. Here's the other thing: does this mean they're going to do a price hike for Game Pass? Give me a second. Andrew says the only complaint I heard is from my dad saying they better not F this up history wise. The war they're covering was when dad went into the Air Force. 100%. I mean, look, Call of Duty always takes some liberties. Again, this
Of
is
course.
Black Ops. So
Yeah.
I think that there obviously will be some historical stuff that they have kind of peppered in. It'll take place, but this is all supposed to be secret stuff. This isn't
Right.
like you're doing the Gulf War or you're doing
Hmm.
the like this really is supposed to all be behind the scenes kind of
Things that you
clandestine
really
stuff
don't
that
know.
yeah, so
Black Ops.
I yeah, I don't think they'll do that, but if they do, it'll put a black eye on them. Jokes, are they
Hmm.
going to increase the price of Game Pass because Call of Duty is now in it?
I don't think so. I
Okay.
definitely think what they're looking like they've always been saying is just getting people into the ecosystem. So I do think Call of Duty for a lot of people is going to be the game that causes them to now want to buy into Game Pass. Especially like Call of Duty games go on sale, but when you incorporate the Game Pass into it, at some point there's probably going to be discounts on the additional content if you have Game Pass or any of that DLC. There'll be extra incentives to having it through Game Pass, but I think they're looking at, hey, we have X, Y, and Z amount of people on the platform that play Call of Duty that are not in Game Pass. They'll probably look at once this happens what the numbers look like. I think that may determine it a little bit more is to see how many of those people they can actually convert into Game Pass now that Call of Duty is a new Call of Duty is in and able to get on day one. Day one until we find out.
You know what I think is interesting is that um there's been a lot of talk about the amount of money that Microsoft spent to pick up Activision.
Hmm.
That Game Pass was like a lot of I mean, having Call of Duty get into Game Pass was a lot of what the point of something like that was. Like, let's do this thing so we can bolster Game Pass and give people some really big titles that are Microsoft but didn't necessarily come from brand new studios or whatever.
Hmm.
So people have a reason to get in. And when you think about spending like $70 billion to pick them up, when you consider all the IP, when you consider everything that's coming in, and when you just look at, like, we've even talked on here about the kind of numbers that Call of Duty does, right? Like how much money it makes on PlayStation, how much money it makes it, across the board. What I don't think a lot of people are considering is how much money is generated just from Call of Duty Mobile.
Hmm.
Just from Call of Duty Mobile. There is so much money being generated by Call of Duty Mobile that I honestly believe it's enough to offset the cost of putting Call of Duty in Game Pass. whatever you get out of subs, whether people stay or they don't, you know what I mean? Get in and find other stuff to play or whatever it is. You're not going to pull that many people away from PlayStation. Now, here's the interesting thing. There are rumors that PlayStation is going to have some sort of a showcase in the next 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about a new Astrobot supposedly being in the works, right? And the rumors abound that the new PlayStation is coming out. Like they are going to announce the PlayStation 5 Pro, that the
Mm-hmm.
PlayStation 5 Pro should hit this holiday.
Okay.
If you're Microsoft, right now is absolutely the best time to make sure that this Call of Duty is in fact in Game Pass. And the reason for that is because when Sony talked about their numbers last week, we didn't get into this in the show. One of the things that came out is that literally half of all PlayStation players are still playing on PS4.
Mm-hmm.
They have not upgraded to a PlayStation 5 yet. And Call of Duty being available on Game Pass or on PC could very well make a dent in the number of people who choose when they upgrade, when they see what it looks like, or that it only runs on PlayStation 5 and or on an Xbox Series system. Again,
Mm-hmm.
we don't know for sure. If I'm Activision and I'm Call of Duty, I'm probably trying to make sure this still runs on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. That's
Mm-hmm.
Right.
my thought process, right? But whatever it is you're missing, right? If you get people now and they're like, well, if you want to keep running on Game Pass, you need to be in an Xbox. Your next system needs to be an Xbox. And then you're really going to find out how tied to that ecosystem people are. Doesn't mean people won't buy both in some way in the long run. Doesn't mean people won't get a PlayStation 5 and pick up a Series S.
Mm-hmm.
But there is an opportunity, I think, there for them to kind of strike and pull some of that market because that announcement that so many people at this point have yet to bother upgrading, which also says to me when PlayStation is already selling more PlayStation 5s than PlayStation 4s were sold at the same time frame, that either people are supremely happy, they're either not playing games they want as games as much as they were, that Microsoft was absolutely right that literally console sales are frozen and we're not gaining new console players.
Mm-hmm.
That's not growing at all. And that the people who haven't upgraded yet haven't seen something that makes them feel like they need to
Need
do it.
to.
There hasn't been a reason to upgrade. So when you start thinking about the things that are happening that make a person upgrade, right now, PlayStation has and already announced they have no major PlayStation Studio exclusives coming out this year at all.
Mm.
But supposedly they're putting out a new console. So if I'm Microsoft and I now own Call of Duty, I'm putting that in Game Pass and I'm pushing this console,
Mm-hmm.
right? To see, like, PlayStation 5s are outselling Xboxes like 5-1. So even if you just put a little bit of a dent in it, it's not like they're not making money. They're still making
Right.
incredible money. They're still being outsold by incredible numbers. Sin,
Yeah.
if you were still only playing on a PlayStation 4, what are the chances that you're one of those gamers that only play Madden, 2K, and Call of Duty?
You're one of those
Maybe
people.
Fortnite. You're
You're
probably one of those people.
you're one of those.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like you are a much more casual gamer who probably doesn't even really know that Microsoft just bought Activision.
Mm-hmm.
You don't care, right? Rich said it's like phones. There's nothing major to make people upgrade any longer. I mean, I feel like that's kind of the point. I think that's where we are. That stuff is just going to continue to run, and they'll have to, like, all the talk about believing in generations and kind of cutting things off, like I think all that's gone and it's out of the window for the most part. Like just like there are always apps that only work on the newest version for the most part of such and
Hmm.
such phone. Eventually the phones are not powerful enough or don't have enough memory or whatever it is to run certain things. Or you run a version of that app that isn't up to snuff.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So take Baldur's Gate 3 running on Series S versus running on X, and you can't do all the same stuff. That just, if you're going to do a PlayStation 5 Pro, maybe you're also walking into that same kind of a boat where you're going to end up where there are things that can run on the Pro that can't run on the standard 5. Um, Generally speaking, I don't think that Microsoft does anything like this without a plan of some sort. Like
Facts.
there's a reason behind it. And if I had to wager, it's something along those lines. Like the rumors are getting much more heavy that, yep, there's a PlayStation showcase coming, and yep, they're actually putting out a system this year.
Hmm.
But if half of your players are still playing on your old console, they didn't upgrade because you didn't force them to, because you couldn't, because you ended up putting out games that you said were only going to be on PlayStation 5 on
Hmm.
PlayStation 4 as well, right? So even if you wanted to do that, you ended up sticking with it and playing those games on a system that you have that's running fine and it looks good to you, and
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Like, and they didn't drop the price. If anything, again, the price went up. A lot of people, it's not uncommon for people to wait half the lifespan of a new console to
Hmm.
upgrade, because when they upgrade, the prices drop,
Hmm.
right? So the other part of it is the expectation is probably that, oh, they're going to announce a PlayStation 5 Pro and drop the price of the original PlayStation 5, which
And
still
then
may
jump
only
in.
put it back at what it was originally anyway.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so now if people are like, well, dang, they put the new joint out, it's been 5 years, 4 years, the price hasn't dropped, but that Series S is 250,
Yep.
and the series is on sale, and I can do that and get Game Pass, and I can get Call of Duty, and I want to drop 70,
And it's gonna look better
and I
than my
get all the rest of these
PS4.
games.
Yep. Sounds like a
I just
no-brainer.
think there's a little something in there. So now that we've done that, here's what I want to do. This is a little bit of a curveball because it's been a while. I know you guys aren't prepared for this, but that's kind of the point of a curveball.
That is the point of a curveball.
Definitely.
I need some predictions for Microsoft's Direct. It's happening
Oh.
June 9th.
Hmm.
Now that they have put this information out, Call of Duty is in Game Pass day one. Get it off the books. We don't even have to think about that anymore. We know what's up. What are we expecting to see Microsoft announce at the Direct, games wise? What are you expecting to see?
Fable.
Sin, you first. Fable.
Fable. Only reason I'm
Interesting.
picking Fable is because they actually showed a cinematic trailer years ago, and we haven't heard anything
I'm about to
since. So at
say we've
least,
been here.
They did the same thing
yeah,
with Perfect Dark.
Perfect Dark needs to be there too.
They did the same thing with Avowed.
There's a lot of games that should be there,
But,
but
I'm just
but
saying.
Perfect Dark, yes. Fable for me, yes. Give me something. Give me some
Okay.
type of information. I'm not saying release date. As much as I want to see gameplay footage, yeah, I need something more. I need something more. It's been too quiet on all these titles that were mentioned. It's been too quiet, and that's one of the problems that we've been having with the gaming industry. Y'all show us stuff way too freaking early, and it's so frustrating.
hmm.
And then we're just sitting there with no information, and we're just waiting for years to even y'all start feel like it's time to start trickling that information out to us because you're ready to put a release on it 2 more years down the line. Like it's just
Hmm.
frustrating. So those projects that we've seen stuff from that's going quiet, I would like to see something from them. That's what I'm going to
Okay.
looking for. Give me that stuff.
Jokes, what about you?
I think we'll get a probably a preview. I think we'll get Gear 6. So I don't think
Okay.
obviously that's not going to be a this year type of thing.
Sheesh.
I think we'll get that nice little teaser of somebody in the Gears outfit with the gun and everything, Gear 6 in development, whatever. I think it's time that we get a little something from that when it comes time for it.
Um, man, Perp saying Kingdom Hearts 4.
I'm good.
I hope not.
Hey, look,
Listen,
for the Kingdom Hearts fans,
I was gonna say, yeah,
sure.
let them have it. Like,
Sure. I
listen,
don't
Bro,
care.
the only reason why I would play Kingdom Hearts 4 is just for the sheer fact of however they can incorporate Marvel into that game. Like, that would be the only reason I would play that part of the game, and then probably never go back to
you got to get to that part first. That's the problem.
it. And
Oh, it
that's
ain't gonna
probably,
be.
Hey, you're not gonna understand
We'll
how
say
you
that
got to
right
that
now.
part.
Yeah.
that's probably gonna be like final battle. Like they're gonna do the whole Avengers thing in that jump, have like all the characters from like all the Kingdom Hearts come together, and that's how the
Hey,
game is
dog.
gonna end.
If the Watcher shows up in Kingdom Hearts 4, that joins MCU canon. Period.
Nope. No.
It
Nope.
is. If the
Period.
Nope.
Watcher
It's,
shows
it's
up,
canon.
it most
Period.
certainly is.
No, they got to do
Um,
more than that to make it canon for me.
you know, I do like the idea of Kingdom Hearts. I do like the idea. Like, I look, you know, talking about the idea of them showing games that are Microsoft titles that are under Microsoft Studios. They got so many studios. They certainly should be giving us some titles that come from under them. But I also think that like third party, and Kingdom Hearts 4, I don't think it's time for that just yet. It feels like it's a little too early just because of the way that they do Kingdom Hearts games and how long it just seems like it
Mhm.
takes. However,
Persona 6.
the fact that, like, again, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Square Enix is like, yo, we going multi-platform. Like, we can't do this no more. Like, we just, that would be dope. Sora and Spider-Man team up would be all money. Would that be the only Spider-Man we get on an Xbox console? Because that,
Probably so.
you know what I'm saying? But you know what? I'm expecting them to announce all the other Call of Duties, all the old joints
Mhm.
coming to Game Pass. I think that's part of why they did this already. It just makes me feel like they about to be like, yo,
Take it all.
today, Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3, Modern Warfare 2, like they're just gonna drop everything. All the map servers are gonna crash, like it's gonna go nuts.
That's gonna be
And
stupid.
people are gonna be like, Game Pass is it. That's where I need to be.
Mhm.
I get a subscription to Game Pass and I can play all the Call of Duties, and me and my boys can jump in and play on all the maps. Me and my girls can get in and run all. Once they do that, it's a wrap. It's
Mhm.
not for real, it's not the new Call of Duty that's gonna bring the people in. It's
Oh, it's
the
gonna
old
be the
one.
Old
old one.
This
classics.
new joint could be garbage.
Yep.
They
Could
might not
be.
care at all. But I can tell you right now, when they drop them old joints in there, I'm on that zombies all day. All day. Because I haven't played a Call of Duty since like Modern Warfare 2, 3. Because I don't care, like I won't spend the money
Yeah,
on
I
it.
tinkered with one of them afterwards. That on PC for free. But
Just the campaigns have been too short, and I don't care
Mhm.
about the multiplayer, with the exception of maybe getting into like the co-op and zombies. And so, I've been saying for years, like they should just do it as two separate things and do like a $30 for the campaign and $30 for the, for the online. And if you want both, then you buy a package or whatever, and you get a deal or something like that. When they did Warzone, I honestly thought they weren't going to do online inside the game anymore. I
Mhm.
thought they were just going to be like, yeah, this is the story. They could put more time and money and focus into that, make the story a little longer, put a little more effort into it, and see what happens. And that might still be a thing. But bro, if you want to see Game Pass numbers,
Take that uptick. Just throw them
put
all
all
in
put
there.
all them joints, put all them joints in Game Pass. Now, here's how else you get me. Again, you got all these Activision joints to go in and grab now. Old Diablo, bro. If they do this deal and get the licensing straight for these Marvel games, bro,
Mhm.
let me tell you something. That's all I'm gonna play. I don't need to buy nothing new. I'll be there, bro. Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2, mostly 2. I'm in there, starting from scratch. I'll be right back on it. Like, all right, That's what I expect. I mean, clearly they're gonna have new stuff to talk about or whatever, but
Of
like
course.
at this point, when you've made this acquisition and you haven't really done anything but put the newest Diablo game in it since you made that acquisition, the only other thing you've announced as a whole since that's happened is this Call of Duty coming to Game Pass.
Hmm.
Where's the Spyro? Where's the Crash
You
Bandicoot?
got all them.
Where's all of that? Listen, where's Tony Hawk?
Bro, throw Tony Hawk in
Where's
there. People
listen?
will.
Where's Guitar Hero? Dog,
Mm.
like exactly, bro. That's what I'm talking about. So like that is what's gonna make the needle move. Like I feel like everybody's so busy looking at Call of Duty, and I'm like, dog, there's so much. Listen, Spider-Man 2000. Listen, I'll take Web of Shadows. That's Spider-Man Web of Shadows. Joint.
Shattered
Listen,
Dimension.
Shattered Dimensions. That's joint vicious.
Woo!
Bro, listen. Put Prototype 1 and 2 in the joint. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so much that they could just be like, and even if they don't, even if they're just like, we're putting all these in Game Pass, but all these get a Game Pass discount. If you're a Game Pass Ultimate member, you get a discount on these other Activision games if you want to go back and get them and whatever, right? Or now that we have them, we've been able to go back and finish doing stuff like, remember when they were going back and doing like the extra frames per second on things and like kind of up-res and all that kind of stuff? They're like, well, now they're ours, so we can do A, B, and C. Tell me, announce that they are green lighting Tony Hawk Underground remake. All right, you know what I mean? Like, then you're really gonna start moving the needle, because then they'll have, if what happened when they announced back compat for the Xbox One is any indication, right? People live in their nostalgia. And if you are now going to give them access to all of that stuff, I think that's what's going to do it. Are you expecting any hardware announcements? Jokes. New controller?
Elite 3. I feel like an Elite 3 controller could be about right timing for it. And especially if they take that Elite 3 and throw that immediately into a design lab where you can go and do stuff to it. I think that could be a cool little thing. I don't know if they're going to do the new console. Maybe, we already know that things are in the works. So, maybe they'll just mention and say that, listen, hardware is all.
Yeah,
And look, like, listen, hardware is something we are going to work on. We're not here to focus and talk about it, but just know there is new hardware in the works. And they may just leave it at that. Like, I don't think they're necessarily going to focus or talk too much about it. If anything, they'll just say it's coming.
Sam, what do you think?
Honestly, I got nothing on the hardware front. I don't see them announcing hardware. Wouldn't be mad at an Elite 3, but I don't see hardware announcement right now.
Maybe not them directly releasing, but maybe there's some type of partnership. Like we've been talking, like obviously Steam Deck and having Game Pass being able to really natively access it on there and use it. So maybe some of those partnerships, maybe they won't make the handheld themselves, but listen, we didn't partner with Asus, we didn't partner with Steam Deck, all these other to do some type of collaborations between the two of them.
Yeah,
We just want you to have Game Pass and be in the ecosystem. Play on your portable devices however you see fit.
I do think there's a possibility that we see like new headsets, like a new having had. It's kind of sad that Hellblade 2 came out and they're like, you need to play this with headphones, and they didn't have something to be like, yo, these are the headphones you really want to, you know what I mean? Like, you should have, like, get these Xbox, like my Xbox headphones, the wireless joints, they're great. Like, they were so good for that game. But Sony did announce that partnership. Well, they actually bought the company, but they bought the company and they got like the new, like Bluetooth and all that kind of stuff. Like, I do think that there's a possibility we get something like that, though I'm not positive they would announce it during the direct. I think it might be in some of those, you know how they do those follow-up days or information that comes out afterwards. I think a controller they would absolutely show. I think that one of the things that they want to do is they do want to be able to compete more directly with the PlayStation 5 controller.
Hmm.
Just the haptics and the stuff like that that people are really talking about. And that's one of the things they've talked about when they talked about the new controller. So I do think they want to kind of compete with that. We know they kind of had a new controller in the works that they were looking at. Um, and that could be the new base version of the controller that they release. It had a slightly different look to it. That came out during the trial, whatever, when that stuff got leaked that wasn't supposed to get leaked and blah blah
Yeah.
blah. Um, where it said, how about they port WWE No Mercy to Steam Deck and
Hey,
Game
listen,
Pass? Dope, trust me.
you can already do that.
Yeah, you actually can. You want to talk about? Listen, I'm gonna just look up RetroArch. It's doable, bro. I do it on my Xbox now, but now RetroArch is available on Apple TV, and people are having it's the whole thing. All right, ecosystem announcements. We don't think they're gonna do a price hike. Is there gonna be a change to Game Pass? Is there gonna
for
be like,
for
are
the
they gonna
love of
do something
God.
with tiers? Will they announce a family joint finally? Like, what are we looking at?
At the most, I can see
Just-
the family one, but I think if it ain't broke, don't like leave it alone. Right now, it's doing well. They add the family plan because not just you, but a lot of people are asking for it. Add that and just keep it pushing.
Just
Yes,
let me pay for it for like a whole year. Just
Mhm.
give me the ability to just pay, other than just buying multiple cards and stacking it. Just give it to me where I can pay for a year, give me a little bit of a discount on it, and call it a day. Like,
I think that might be one of the only things that we see right now. Might be that they allow for people to do that. I do think that that is one of the things that makes PlayStation's the PSN. I do think that's part of why they see success with it. It's not because their pricing's not necessarily better when you look at it from a month to month standpoint.
mm-hmm,
When you look at it from a, like, if you pay for the full year, then you break it down by month. If you pay for the full year up front, it's just easier. You get it out of the way. You're not doing a month to month, and you're good. And I do honestly believe that there are people. That's the kind of thing I think you can announce with a brand new Call of Duty coming in. That there are people who, like, if you just tell them buy Call of Duty. Look, if they say buy this version of Call of Duty and it's $200, but it gives you a full year Game Pass, you know what I mean? And then they begin to offer, you can pay for the full year up front for
mm-hmm,
this price, and it saves you this amount. It is the additional monies that they'll make in people buying the DLC stuff,
mm-hmm.
getting all the, like all that kind of stuff. The money they'll see coming in from there, I think, would easily offset the difference in cost as far as that's concerned. So I do think we might see that, jokes. I would agree with you on that. Anything else y'all can think of that you think is going to happen? I don't want to get into what the Call of Duty direct might be like
Mm-hmm.
because I don't care or have enough information about Call of Duty to really be able to speculate into what it is that they're going to show other than like gameplay, to show it off. But
show
anything
enough.
else y'all can think of?
Um, so that's on the 9th. So technically, it's
Let's see.
2 days.
Andrew says, hold on, add perks too. If you get Game Pass, you get Netflix too, since no more password sharing or accounts and different addresses. I mean, look, I will say this. Game Pass already does have, at least they had really good perks. Um, the perks that they are offering now, I don't think are that great. But it's not lost on me that when you have Comcast going over $15 a month, you can get these three streaming services added in with your Comcast bill. And when you're seeing like Disney and Hulu start to actually do deals with like Max, and they're
Mm-hmm.
like supposed to be mortal enemies, that yeah, anything that they can do that would give you that additional bonus, right? And look, here's the thing. To some extent, it doesn't even have to be Netflix. That would be smart. But it's not like Microsoft doesn't own their own. Like they have Microsoft movies and TV. Like that
Mm-hmm.
is a thing. They could offer you something in there that allows you, a certain number of rentals a week where like you don't pay for it, you just can go in and you can watch them or whatever, and it's considered a rental. You have a certain many days, whatever. But like they do have options that exist in that realm. And when you consider that one of the things they really want to do is they want to open their own mobile store, they're really looking to
Hmm.
push that effort. Since Netflix is really playing in that same space, I don't know how often you guys open Netflix on your phone or on your tablet because it's
Rarely.
rare that I do it.
Hmm.
But if you do it, when you log in, it's just like, here's all these games you can play just because you have Netflix. Netflix has been buying game studios and paying for games that you can just play on your phone. They're just mobile games that you can play. And there's been like really, really good games that are there. I mean, they have purchased some of the best indie studios out there, and they're just giving those games to you because you already have a Netflix subscription. So
Hmm.
with them really kind of getting their hands dirty in the game space, it makes sense for Microsoft to add incentives for you to have Game Pass outside of. And again, it's not going to be, they're not just going to give it to you. It'll be some sort of a discount or something like that. Like they were
Hmm.
doing like Nitro for Discord and stuff like they did. Was it
YouTube
Peacock?
Premium. They did YouTube
They
Premium.
did
Yep.
YouTube Premium. Yeah, that's
Hmm.
how they got
For
me.
a little.
Um, that's how they got me. Yeah, it was Paramount Plus. They
Hmm.
had like 3 months of Paramount Plus
Mm-hmm.
for free or whatever with Game Pass. So like, there are some perks that are there. I think some more permanent perks would make sense, and stuff that they actually call out that are incentives to get it. Right now, they're just things that are in there if you have it, but they're not things that I feel like they can't go to like right now. If you go and you look at the perks, there's nothing that's happening in that joint that will be like, yo, you should get Game Pass because look at these perks. Like, no, sir,
Right.
that's not happening. If you want, um, I don't know, some extra money to spend in Elder Scrolls Online, there's some gold and an outfit or something like
Hey,
that. Like that's about
Fantasy
it.
Star Online too always got something in there.
Yeah, every month, and I'm
Claim,
sure it's working. Like,
oh, I claim them
hey,
because when I jump
yeah,
into it, it'll all be there.
exactly. Um, let's talk about Furiosa. Jokes.
Hmm.
Did you see Mad Max Fury Road?
Nope.
Sin, did you?
I haven't seen any Mad Max.
Oh yeah?
Yep.
Huh. Huh. I haven't announced the movie club movie yet.
We can
Huh.
keep pushing. We can keep pushing. I'm good.
But you like muscle cars and
I do.
family.
But it ain't dumb. It ain't dumb.
um, I only bring up Furiosa, and we don't have to spend a lot of time on this because I just found it interesting that the movie is reviewing really, really well. Like people
Mhm.
seem to like really love it. Um, Garfield is not reviewing well. That is apparently
Is it?
trash. If which I guess is live action Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, but like that is also
Struggling.
reviewing pretty well. But I bring this up because Furiosa, for as well as it's reviewing, and people who I know who have seen it seem to really love it, only pulled in $32 million over the holiday weekend. That is Friday through Monday. 25.5 of which was done Friday through Sunday.
Okay.
It is the lowest amount of money brought in by the top grossing box office film since 1995.
Bleh.
Dang.
Bleh.
Ugh.
It's a record. That's not the record you want to aim for.
It's not.
No, sir.
What's the problem?
I think getting people out the house to go to the movies. I think that's still a struggle to get back into. I go to the movies to go, watch my animes and stuff like that. I see people with masks on still, stuff like that. I just think everybody's not comfortable. And like we always said, people went out through that time and went and bought all the speakers and TVs and surround systems and all that kind of stuff. And it doesn't take long before it goes from theater to home now. 45 days, and you can watch it in the comfort of your own home without having to pay $50 for popcorn and a soda as well. Like,
Man, I don't even think it's 45 days, bro. Like it don't even be.
It
yeah,
don't even take that long anymore
yeah.
now.
It's like we said, it's you have to the theaters have to find a way to make that experience different again, and that's
I
what
don't.
they got to
I, the
figure out.
honest truth is, I don't think that's gonna happen, especially with cost the way that they're going. Don't get me wrong. The ticket prices aren't necessarily the issues, but like say Gage, when you're taking the whole family out to the theaters, like
Woo.
that is an investment. Like that is, guys, let's pick a movie this month, and so we can all go to it. And if it's honestly, if it ain't like an MCU or something like that, I I don't know.
So we talked about this a little bit before. I think movies aren't cool to go to for teenagers anymore. You're competing with graduations. People are graduating from high school, graduating from college. It's a cookout weekend. People haven't really been able to get together and do whatever. Here's something to consider: the graduating class for this year, right, started their freshman year in lockdown.
Mm.
They did their freshman year from home. They couldn't go out. They couldn't spend time with their friends. They couldn't do cookouts. They went through their freshman year and couldn't go to the first graduations for the people that are graduating. Like those are things that you kind of build up to, right? There's an anticipation, like when you get to high school, of like being able to go, like you get the day off when it's graduation day. Seniors are graduating. Maybe you know some people, maybe you don't. You still get to go, right? You still get the day off. It's the thing you kind of build up to. This is, if you can choose to be outside instead of inside,
Hmm.
I think that's what you pick, right? I think that's where you I think that's where you go. Now, I also think, and I could be shooting for the moon, but I also think when the last really, really, really big movie was also a movie about the desert and sand, maybe people are just like,
They feel like sin.
I'm good.
Dang.
Because
I'm,
now,
I'm done with
No.
the desert.
yeah, like now if you put out a movie that's about being in the desert and the sand and it being a wasteland, and like this last movie that came out was that, but also had like the most incredible special effects and it's like sci-fi, this, that, epic, whatever. This don't even come close to competing with that, even if it's really good. So what do you and that movie, that super duper epic movie that was breaking records and doing all that kind of stuff, you know what you can do? You
Watch
can
it from
watch it at
home.
home
Hmm.
right now instead of going to the theater to see Mad Max. So you're competing with people's ability to stay home and watch the number one movie that's come out so far this year at home. If they didn't go see it in the theater, even if they did, and they were like, "Yo, this joint was like that. Everybody's over. Let's do it." You know what I'm saying? So yeah, G Rich says, "Yeah, we seen Doom, but like people loved it. You could do it again, and you don't have to go nowhere.
Hmm.
You can do it at home on that system that Sin was just talking about you spending your money on while you were on
Yep.
lockdown. Why would you go to the theater to see this? You're not simply competing. So, like, I read probably 4 articles that were, you know, Furiosa versus Garfield versus If. Oh, it's terrible because, you know, even though it did like okay and it's reviewing really well, like the money just isn't there and like people aren't going and like it should have done better when these are the only other movies that are in the theater. No, dog. Dune 2 is at home and has been for like 2 weeks. But even if it was available to you, aren't you going to wait till it's time to have a cookout or have a bunch of people over to show off your system and to sit down and have a bunch of people watch it or whatever? Like, you're
That's
not
how you can do it.
going to the theater to do it.
Yeah, and honestly, none of those
And
movies that are currently out, like those, to me, on a holiday weekend like this, those are not one of those movies that I would have like, hey, this is what we're gonna put here to make people come into the theater. Like if it had been like Deadpool Wolverine, oh, folks would have jumped during the weekend to go see that. Absolutely.
I can tell you right now that if Dune had come out this past weekend instead of when it did come out, it would have done way better. The numbers would have been way higher because that's what people want to see. 4th of July, Memorial Day, people want to see big, epic sci-fi. They want Men in Black. They want Independence Day. They want those. They want an X-Men. They want an MCU film. Furiosa ain't even coming close.
That's not it. Nope.
They want a Fast and the Furious
I could have done the trick,
because that's a
It would have.
superhero
Yeah,
movie.
it would have.
and they would have
You know
cooked
what I'm
out
saying?
at
Like
the end of the movie.
Of course. At the end of everyone.
everybody be like, you know what? I'm gonna go do that.
With some Coronas. You got to.
I think it's interesting. I don't think it's as much an issue. Again, you're right. Like all those other things, right? Like, yep, theaters need to find ways to make it more enticing to come to the theater. I didn't see Mad Max popcorn bucket, so it might have been cool for some reason. Like,
Probably got
I
scared
don't
looking at the
know.
popcorn bucket after that Dune one.
Yeah, that thing look crazy.
Yeah, I
They
don't.
miss me with that one.
Let me also say, Chris Hemsworth, when he's not Thor, does he move movie tickets?
He's Thor in the desert in this movie. That's all he
Is
is.
he?
This movie.
All right.
Yeah.
Anya Taylor Joy.
No.
She might be an incredible actress. But here's the thing. She's kind of cute. But not in this. Like she don't like none of the things about her. Like people would like if there were people who would go to the theater to see her, and I'm not talking about to see her acting skills. I'm talking about to see her. The same way there are people who would go to a theater to see Chris Hemsworth, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is not the way they want to see her. This isn't it. And I don't think she has what Charlize Theron was when Charlize Theron played the older version of Furiosa in Fury Road. I don't know if y'all know that. This is like a prequel,
Yeah.
sort of.
Yeah.
So she's playing the younger version of Charlize Theron's character from that movie, who people were like, they shouldn't even call this Mad Max. It should have been called Furiosa. This is really her movie. It's not even about Mad Max. I've seen articles about how they don't even need to call these joints
A Mad Max
Mad
story
Max
or
movies
whatever.
anymore. The people who want to see her, I don't think want to see her like this.
Mm.
That's what I think. So I think you just not. Why are you going to see this?
Mm-hmm.
What else is she in, Sin?
She is in the Queen's Gambit Split.
Oh, you looking it up? I thought you was gonna be able to
Oh
tell me off
no,
the top of your
I
head.
already saw him when he was going through the.
Oh no!
I saw him doing it, but
I don't know who she is. I had to go figure it out.
you know who she is. She's Princess Peach.
Yeah, I wouldn't recognize her. Yeah, no.
She's in New Mutants.
Yeah, I blanked that from my memory.
And that joint was like that. Sidebar. Yeah, I'm just saying. I think there's some other factors here. Like, even if you really love this movie and you thought it was really good and blah blah blah, like I just think there are a lot of other factors here that like these joints, these are not in this context, in this movie, these are not holiday movie theater ticket sellers. I don't believe.
Great.
That's where I'm at. Okay. Problem solved. Right, Jokes?
Think so.
All right. All right, look. we'll spend the next few minutes talking about something I think is important. I'm sure we all think it's important, but um, it is Mental Health Awareness Month. We haven't really touched on it throughout the month, but I thought that with this being the last Loading Snacks Weekly of the month, we should kind of touch on it. And so, kind of want to take a few minutes to talk about the importance of. I felt weird the way I said that. The importance of taking a mental break. Um, so there are a couple of things I think are important to get into with that first and foremost. I think the first thing is finding the time and the space to do that.
Mhm.
Um, as we do like being comfortable being in geek panels and things like that, we talk to a lot of people about finding your space, finding like-minded people. I think even when you have that, you still sometimes need a break from that, from
Mhm.
just kind of some of the noise. And how you take your break is going to be different, I think, for everybody. Um I don't think it needs to be a lot of space or time, though I do think if you don't have a lot of it, you need to try to find small amounts of it more often. Jokes.
Mhm.
Um Honestly, how often would you say you feel the need to take a mental break?
I feel like quite often, like
Okay.
whether it just be a long day at work. It may not even be work. It could be just you had a lot of stuff planned that you know what you needed to do, you needed to get done, and then once you're finished with it, it's just like, all right, I just need to separate myself. Whether it be, hey, I just need to come home, sit down, relax. Whether it's watch a TV show, even sometimes
Have a good one, Andrew.
it's
Thanks for hanging out.
it's not necessarily something that I do as often, but sometimes I can just come in, not turn the TV on or not turn anything on, and just sit down for a little bit and just silence. It's
Yeah.
it's
Is that once a week? Is that a couple times a week? Is it once every 2 weeks? Like how often?
maybe I would say maybe a couple, because I feel like it's as you keep going and you start like building up, whether it's frustration or whatever. Like I just find myself the needing to come in and just sit down. Like honestly, just literally sit down and do nothing. Like I feel like sometimes it's just like almost like an off switch
Yeah.
that I just don't. I'll just come in, I'll sit in my chair, and whether it's sometimes it's just me even playing a mobile game on my phone. Like I may not even turn on the big TV or
Jokes.
flip the com.
How often, jokes? How often, bro? It's just
I said a
how
couple times.
often?
Let's say a couple times a
A
week.
couple times a week. You said a couple times, but a couple times a week? Like you
Let's say a
think
couple times a week.
sin,
Yeah.
honestly. How
Mhm.
often do you feel like you need to take a mental break?
Every day.
Every single day.
Every single day.
Every day. Do you do it every day?
No.
Okay. Why don't you do it every day?
Because the kind of real mental break that I need, I have to find a way to separate which I'm difficult at doing. Find a way to separate myself to leave and go on vacation somewhere away. That's when I can reset myself back to zero. Other than that, it's doing like Joe said. I'll just sit down and just have nothing on, no lights, nothing. Just sit there and just try to quiet my brain as much as possible for the time being, or try to meditate. You know what I'm saying, to help just quiet my thoughts, lower the blood pressure, all that type of stuff. Those are the ways I try to do on a daily basis to keep me from spiraling.
Every day. So how do we take that? That to me says that like we've just built so much up over time, right? And haven't taking that time off. Like y'all know that I normally at the end of the year
Hmm.
I just take a couple of extra days
Hmm.
just to like it is an absolute decompression for me. Like I absolutely need it. Um why don't you do that?
I need to go. I need to go to Vegas or cruise. That's what I need more than anything. I think mentally in my life right now. Not because it's Vegas or anything about that. It's just what it just does to me when I'm out there. I just need the look, the ambiance. Just go be a damn tourist and go see the new hotels they built out there. Just do that type of stuff that I actually love to do when I used to visit it. I need to do that, or I need to go on a cruise where I'm just away in the middle of the water. Food is taken care of, everything is taken care of, and I can just listen to the sounds of the ocean and just kind of just go, leave all the stuff behind, and just get it out of my system and reset.
So you're not doing it because it's not the vacation. I'm gonna air quote that you want. So like you could take the time, but you're not doing it because the the way you want to do it isn't that.
No, I don't do it because mentally I've just been just with mom and everything. Just you got to work. You got to keep working, like not taking time off, stuff like that. So I'm constantly just all right. On to the next week. On to the next week. Not taking that time off for myself to just go and go do those type of things, which I know I need to. Just like even I feel terrible when I call out. I'm that type of person. Like I have to literally not be able to move for me not to get up and go to work every day. Like either I got a migraine that's kicking
Nah,
my ass or just, but like yeah, just I'm constantly not taking that time off to
I get
myself to
that,
go do something.
but the places you're talking about going are places you used to visit with your mom,
Mm-hmm.
which is I understand why that would be a big thing. Anthony said a break from the norm. Rick said once a week. Brunch and a spa with a friend every week. Hold on now. Hold on now, Rich. Hold on now.
Sound kind of
Hey,
lit.
listen, if it's working for you, that's cool, but you might need to have a different kind of conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying.
What's his friend?
Yeah,
This, who's this brunch friend? Just
brunch
saying,
and spa?
right?
Boy. Nah, but saying, like, I totally get Vegas just because I've known you for so long, right? Like, I
Yeah.
totally get Vegas and I totally get the cruise because I know they were things you did with your mom and I know you miss your mom and I understand that's important. I do also
Hmm.
understand that pressure of feeling like she just worked so hard. And so I feel that need to do that. But also, you did those things with your mom, which means she took time off.
Yep.
She took time off to go do those things and took you and your brother with her. So, as hard as she worked, and we know she worked super hard, she did take that time to do it. It was important. So you need to make the time, right? And again, that's what we're talking about, right? Is just trying to find
Hmm.
a way to make the time. So like you work hard and your job gives you time off, use it. You know, like
Yeah.
use it,
Yeah, I'm the
bro.
type that
Take
does it
like
like at the end of the year, and they're like, all right, because it's a government thing, like we gotta have these times off or whatever. Like last 2 years,
Hmm.
mhm.
they're like, hey, look, you gotta sit down for like 2 weeks. I'm like, all right, like
Yeah,
I'm not doing
Dog,
anything. Like I don't.
I wish.
It'll be the same way this year, like because I don't go anywhere. So
right. So that's what I'm telling you. Like, so and this is the thing. I also understand. Hold on.
Yes, go ahead.
I gotta read the paragraphs. Hold on.
yeah.
Go for it. That's your
Mike
day.
says it's hard to take those breaks to work on our mental health because of the expectations that are put upon us, whether it be personal work or from others. I know I'm running ragged right now, but despite my trip to Canada this weekend, it still feels like work. And I think that's the issue. We look at taking time off as work when it shouldn't be. You're 1000%
Hmm.
right. For us, so much of what we do just feels like a good time. Going to comic conventions and hanging out with people and like enjoying all the sights and the cosplayers and doing panels and whatever. But the reality of it is that still is a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
And when we're done doing that, we always have a lot of work to do to create content and cut things up and put it out in front of people. And it's a constant thing of like, all right, what are we doing? We have meetings every week. All right, what are we doing this week? What's coming out this day? What's happening this day? What's happening this day? What are we like? Those things really are on top of having our regular jobs. And, you know, like the two of y'all don't have kids. I do. Kind of. Like I still have a kid.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know, more or less, right? But like, even with adult children, like they're still there. They're still around. It still counts. There's still stuff happening. It's all important, right? Which is why it's not that taking the time I do at the end of the year every year is exactly what I want to do. I just made the decision. It started out just like an extra day. Then it turned into like an extra 2 days. Then it turned into an extra 3 days because that one day felt so good. And it felt so good to be away. Because like taking a day off and staying home still feels like work. Because now it's like, well, I want to clean something, or I want to straighten something out, or whatever. And like, even if I don't do anything, then I feel like I was lazy because I didn't get anything accomplished and I was here all day. And I could have been editing something, or I could have been cleaning something or moving something or whatever, right? So like, I think mentally that tends to beat you up more. And so just, again, I have learned sort of the hard way that like just getting a hotel for the weekend and not really going anywhere. I'm talking about going like 30 minutes away to Baltimore, up the street, whatever, where somebody else got to clean up and like I just don't have to think about it. All I really have to do is sleep and get up. You know what I mean? And just kind of enjoy the time away. That decompression felt so good. I was like, I need more of that. But the other thing about it is I try to do something every day, something I enjoy doing every day that isn't work, which can be difficult when we've chosen to take things we love, watching movies, playing video games, whatever, and turning it into content. But sometimes, and Sin knows this, and jokes sometimes is in on this. This is not a dig at you for real jokes. This is just kind of like jokes don't generally get in and like really co-op and stuff like. But Sin and I get in all the time. It's like, hey dog, we just need to shoot something today. So let's take an hour and let's jump in something. Let's go blow some stuff up. Let's go shoot some things or whatever and get some aggression out of our system.
Like the other day when you hit me on Mother's Day, it was like I just need something.
Yeah.
Double Dragon.
And look, it took us a little time to figure out what. We bounced like 4 different games.
Oh yeah, like some games like Saints Row wasn't letting us load in. Strangers in Paradise, like this is way too complicated right now. I don't got time for this. And just let's just go to Double Dragon. And it turned out to be a great run, you know.
So, it was a great run.
Great one. Severely needed. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, jokes you said a couple times a week, right? And sometimes it is just kind of sitting and doing nothing. And I don't think that's bad. For me, that doesn't work as well because of the way my brain is wired.
I understand that too.
If I just sit and it's quiet, I just can't stop thinking about all the other stuff that's going on. Like sometimes I just do it because I'm just that tired or that beat up. You know what I'm saying? That I just sit. For me, usually that happens in the car. It's like I get home from work and I pull into the driveway or pull in front of the house and I just sit for like 20 minutes and let the music play or let nothing play. What was that last one? Something about the gym?
Yeah,
G Rich.
Yeah. I walk or gym while listening to music. I love it at least 3 times a week. I mean, again, I think, part of this discussion is about the importance of making that time, right? And making it purposeful, but not making it work. Because I think a lot of like if you try to schedule it, so to speak, then it feels like another thing that you've added to a list of things you have to do. Right. But like for me, like I can make a decision tonight that like no matter what happens when we get done doing this, like a lot of times when this show is over, we'll stay here and we'll just talk about what's going on. These two will talk about wrestling. I'll ignore them for a little while or whatever, and
Hmm.
we might just talk about other stuff or whatever. Regardless, it doesn't matter how tired I am. I know that before I go to sleep, I'm gonna turn on a game and I'm just gonna do a run for like 10
Hmm.
minutes, 15 minutes, something like that, right? Might be a puzzle game, might be a card game or something. Just something that like I don't have to think about nothing else that's going on except for what's happening on the screen, and like that's it, right? Just something that like that's comfort food. Might be Pac-Man, might be, whatever, because it's just easy for me. I've always had the outlet. It's always
Hmm.
been music or video games. Like I've always had that. And I think that's an important thing for a lot of people, right? Is having an outlet. Even if that outlet is within something that you do in some manner for work, like playing video games. I'm not cutting content on Pac-Man. I could. I'm not. Right. So I'm gonna take 10 minutes. And if
That
10
last
minutes turns into 20, cool.
that last fairy tale game, for whatever reason, is working for me right now. Just as far as like just disconnecting for a second, and I think it was just because they just announced that it's coming back in July, so I'm excited because I love fairy tale. So I was like, oh, let me go ahead and
Mm-hmm.
play the game, little recap or whatever.
Kind of
I haven't
thing.
been paying attention to no dialogue in that game, and I'm more than halfway through it. I've just been running through it, bodying it, and now I want to watch the series all over again. Like I'm excited to just run it back to get
Hey,
ready for the new
listen, and
stuff.
that's
So
facts. Like, there's some games like that I will play just because they're fun and skip like the
Mm-hmm.
cinematics. Like, I will say, send that new solo leveling game that just came out.
yeah.
I, I've
The
been
mobile joint.
skipping the mobile
Hmm.
jump. I'm playing it on
Yeah.
PC, but like literally, I've just been skipping cutscenes because like I know the story that's out for it, and just
Right.
been going through and just wrecking dudes.
Right.
But now I got to the point where I can't do that anymore because apparently this game goes past the anime and it's in the manga. So it's like
Gotcha.
I can't really do that
Same switch.
anymore with it on there
I've
for it.
same here. Like I know the story of Fairy Tale. I've watched it all. So like
Right.
I don't need to know all of
It's
this.
just
Let me
getting
just
in there and
yeah.
just
Let me just go.
doing.
I paid for this. Let me just go and beat it
And
and
you know
just
what?
okay.
We'll mess
A
around.
game, a
Yeah.
game that I do that with, and I would say I probably do it once a year is Final Fantasy X. It's Final
Mm.
Fantasy X is my absolute favorite
Comfort
Final
food.
Fantasy game, and I
Yeah.
will just go through it and like I've I've done everything that you could do in the game, but there's just something about playing it, hearing that music that plays in the different scenes that you're playing through there, and then there comes those times where it's like you just want to shift gears and go into, you know what, I need to do all
Mm.
this stuff so I can get the max weapons and all this or whatever. But it's really
Hmm.
just getting in, hearing the music and just moving. There's just something about that game that is just I will sit and play that and just I will lose myself and not play anything else.
Yeah. Mike just said that he wants to get back into streaming. He's got all this stuff that he wants to stream, but he's either too tired or, he's been too busy or he just doesn't feel motivated. And again, I think a lot of times the motivation for stuff like that we lose because we haven't taken the time to decompress.
Hmm.
Like and look, for everybody it's a little bit different. I think it's it's going to sound a little strange, but I think part of it is that we're now in a place in society, we're so plugged into social media and so forth that like a lot of the time we could spend decompressing, we end up losing 30 minutes to doom scrolling, right? Just scrolling through Instagram, scrolling through Facebook or whatever. And it's like you look up and you're like, dang, that was 30 minutes, or something like that. Like you don't even realize it. And you really could have taken that 30 minutes because in that time, even though it seems like you're not doing anything, you're soaking in so much information. Your brain is reading so much. You're watching video, you're reading things, you're hearing things. So often you are listening to it and the words are on the screen at the same time. Like your brain is doing so much that isn't really relaxing because you do it and then you're immediately on to the next thing and immediately on to the next thing, right? So I don't necessarily think everybody needs to do the thing where they're like, I'm shutting off social media for like 30 days or I'm shutting off social media for a week. I don't even think that's healthy for everybody. I think there
Hmm.
are people who need to do that. I do think though that the moment we open our phone and go to Instagram, that the way that it works, that constant flow of information and new things on screen is literally like playing the lotto. It's like pulling the thing and having the jackpot rolling just to see if the next thing you get to is going to be something funny, is going to be something interesting, is going to be something you want to share. You're literally playing the lotto with your feelings, with your endorphins, with that. And that takes a lot out of you. You don't realize it, but it does, because your brain is waiting for that next pop. It's not just
Mm-hmm.
you pulling in information. It is you watching this thing, reading it, soaking it in, a 30-second video, a 1-minute video, a 5-minute video, right? Pictures. And then scrolling through 5 or 6 pictures to see what the next picture is. Which one's my favorite? You are constantly putting yourself, your brain, your body into a mode of choosing, of choice, and looking for the next hit, that next thing that's gonna be like, oh my God, that's so funny. Let me send it to somebody. And they know, because I send them stuff all the time. If somebody's getting knocked out,
Woo! It's in the inbox.
What?
chances are I'm sending it, right? We'll waste time on reels in the name of decompressing. I mean, listen, there are ways to do it, right? You can go on TikTok and search for clean talk and just watch people clean dirty things. And there is something very satisfying about
Satisfying.
watching people power wash
Hey,
something.
look, like I said
Hey,
before,
Or
them
bruh.
carpet cleaning ones. Oh my God, they
Dog,
do it
those
for me
carpet
every.
cleaner, I
They
got
do it to me
locked into
every
that one.
time. Yeah,
and that's again, sin. A couple of years ago, dance videos
yeah.
all day. And it's like, I love music. What's
What
up?
up,
What's
Kidlet?
Kill
up,
it.
kill it?
Hello at work. Dance videos were great. I love the choreography. I love seeing people learn it. I love seeing people mess it up. And I love new music. I love being introduced to new music. and
By the
and
way,
like, what?
Right?
Bruh. Just, so like
dance video
for
brought that in
for a
our
long
life.
time, like, it just was one of those things where, like, it was very decompressing for me. It allowed me to
Mhm.
do something that just, again, because I love music and I love dance and I love watching people do it. And so seeing people be creative and do different choreography, seeing other people do someone's
Mm-hmm.
choreography and like put their own twist on it or whatever. And like me and Cinda sit there and watch them, and I'd be like, yo, look how Slim is like killing. You know what I mean? Like, you just,
Yeah,
like, you could really have those moments. So there are ways to doom scroll and find things that are satisfying and
Mm-hmm.
can allow you or help you to decompress. However, I do think that it is important for you to really think about the things that you just enjoy doing, whether it's like going to the gym or it's taking a walk, or again, for me, it's playing video games. It could be listening to music, putting on a good, I think it is so comforting for me to spend like an hour making a new playlist. I have hundreds and hundreds of playlists. Just like, there's something so satisfying about like putting the next song in, finding that next thing, but like, this is the one, this is the next song that should
Mm-hmm.
be in this place, and putting stuff together like that. And then, like, I know in like 2 days I'm gonna get in the car and I'm just gonna play that playlist, and I'm gonna put it on random. Like, there are some playlists I specifically craft to hear those songs in a specific order, because I spend that time putting the playlist that way. And there are other times when I'm making a playlist, I'm just like, this playlist needs to be so perfect. There can't be a song that doesn't feel like it fits the mood of this playlist, because I really want to be able to put this on and just hit random and let it
Mm-hmm.
play anything from the playlist and allow it to surprise me. Because all these songs are my songs. These are all my jams. These are all my joints, right? Or they're going to be. And so allowing it to just surprise me, and oh, that's my joint. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I created it. It's my thing, but I can derive a lot of satisfaction from that, right? And I do think it's important to try to find a way to take at least 10 minutes every day to do something that makes you happy. Even if it's something you would maybe normally feel guilty about, like, I really could be cutting some content from this. Candace says Headspace, Calm, great tools for mine. Mine is, again, they are really good apps for kind of, getting in and finding ways. Look, there are all kinds of things you can do. Breathing techniques, changing your timing, working on the way that you speak to people about yourself. Um, you know, that that constant going,
Hmm.
um, I tell these two this all the time, but like it took me a long time to realize I hadn't been on a vacation in easily like 20 years or more,
Same.
right? That's not that I hadn't taken time off. Mike said, Gage got me motivated now. I'm going to shoot and release a new reel as soon as you guys are done. Hey, listen, I love it. You know what I
Respect.
mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I love it. And you know what? Tag us. Put us in the comments, something like
Hmm.
that, man, so we
Yeah.
can share it, all that kind of stuff. Like we're also here for that. You know what I mean? Um, it took me a long time to realize I didn't go on vacations because when you have children and you plan a vacation, it's really a trip. A vacation is something that's supposed to allow you to kind of get away from everything. Doctor Who said yoga was my jam.
Pump up the jam.
I've thought about it. I just,
I can get down
it
with
hasn't
yoga.
worked. DDP yoga is what you want to do, Sam.
Hmm.
That's the one. I'm not even, we're not even gonna
No,
talk about it no
no,
more.
no, no, no. It's not funny. I've heard
I'm not trying
great.
to be funny.
Yeah, I've
Nah,
heard great
that,
I'm
things
not
about it. So
trying to be
I
funny.
wasn't gonna laugh at it like because it's down without
Yeah,
stage. You know what I mean? But no, I've
yeah.
heard great things
Nah,
about it.
real
his
talk.
DDP yoga is absolutely amazing. Just from seeing, you hear stories, like not like the people that he brings on that does it, but just there's different ways to do it. Especially if you're not someone, I use Butterbean, who unfortunately, had really bad, like couldn't bend, like just taking it at your leisure, at your step, and giving a little bit extra each time, and you just keep working and working towards it. I even said I wanted to do that too, and I just same thing, just not taking the time.
Oh,
I think a lot of times when we choose things like that are not, there's a reason why I'm not specifically talking about things that are designed to like make us look better.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Or like physically feel better. Because a lot of times what happens is we decide, I'm let me get on this yoga thing. Let me try it. And we don't give ourselves enough time to see the actual results.
Hmm.
Right. And then when we don't see the results, we start to feel defeated very early on. And that makes it very hard to stay motivated to keep doing it because in your head, you want to do it. It kind of starts to feel good. Yeah, it's hard. It's going to take time before you actually see the results, but you don't have that kind of patience. Right. And I do think that in a lot of cases, the reason why that doesn't work for a lot of people is because they haven't taken the time to mentally decompress
Hmm.
so that they then can do the thing they really need to do so that they can actually use their mind to focus on getting themselves physically in the space they want to be in. Right. So that's whether it's changing the way you eat, whether it is working out every day, even if it's going for a walk or a jog. It's why it can be so good to have a partner, somebody who is just going to be like there to help motivating. You're motivating each other and you're kind of keeping each other there. But that person is also somebody going to say, girl, it's working. You know what I'm saying? Hey, dog, you looking good, right? Sin,
yeah.
I be having to call you at work. Hey, dog, are you walking today or you
Yes, I
still sitting
is.
on your lunch break? Oh, man, it's like, I'm walking. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
sometimes you need a partner to check in. That's a physical thing,
Hmm.
and that's different. If you can help get yourself into a place where the overload from the mental stress of things that are going on, when you can start to kind of bring some of that down, that then allows you to start doing some of the other things that you really want to do because mentally you're still defeated before you get there. You're mentally tired. You're mentally stressed out. So, yeah, your body's not physically allowing it, just ain't
Hmm.
working. And then mentally, you've defeated yourself already because you go and you look in the mirror and you're like, man, or you're just getting old and it's harder and it takes longer to see the results that you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just that's that's part of it, but that also is part of that mental, you know, game. Um, Jokes,
Hmm.
before we close this out, what are some of the things that you do besides just go and have a day where you sit and you
Hmm.
just kind of like don't do anything? What are some things that you feel like you could do that would be good for you that you're not doing now?
Honestly, some of the simple things, like one of the simple, like actually, what you tell Sin to do is actually just going and taking a walk. Like, and I would say that was something I used to do with my dad, because my dad
Mm,
always wanted to make sure that he stayed active. So I
hmm,
would go with him when he would decide that he would want to go on walks and do things like that.
hmm.
But I feel like just some of those small things, taking a walk here and there, like I'm kind of similar. My mind and the way that it works, like I just feel like I have to be hands on with certain things or doing something that sometimes. So I think that's why like Gundam model kits and things like those type of things soothe me, because I'm sitting here. Yes, for the average person, it may be that super complicated trying to do something, but when I just
Hmm.
see that, it's a clear path and it's just the snaps putting things together.
Hmm.
It just feels good.
So carve out some time.
Hmm.
I'm not going to tell you to make content out of it. You could, but don't.
Hey, I could.
Right? Don't. I mean, you know, make a decision, right? Like, you have some time, whether it's when you get off work or, whatever. Mike says walks are amazing. I take one every lunch break, depending on the day after work. That's
Mhm.
literally what we talking about with sin. It's like
Yep.
walking, like during your lunch break. And, look, carve out some of that time, right? Don't beat yourself up about not giving yourself enough time to start and complete it.
Mhm.
Just start it, right? And give yourself a little more time, like every day, to work on it until you get it done. And then, like, when it's done, you can take pictures of it and you can share it and you can, what I'm saying, whatever, right? But if look, I need at least a good 30 minutes to even be able to get into it before, like, I can't just 10 minutes isn't going to be enough, right? You
Mhm.
do have to figure that out, right? And if that means, and this is another thing. I think a lot of times we do actually need to take the time to prepare ourselves to take some mental time off. So for me, I know that, like, if I'm gonna sit and I'm gonna build Legos or something like that, which is great for me to do, I need something else going on in the background. I need a playlist, right? I need music going or something like that. I need a movie that I can put on, and it can't be something new. It
New.
has to
It's
be
got
something
to
I've
be
seen a
Nah.
new.
hundred
Yeah.
times
Yeah.
that it can just run in the background. I can put on The Mummy. I can put on Rush Hour. I can put on something that just, like, it can play in the background or whatever, and I can do what I need to do. But that background noise is there. I'm still kind of enjoying it, but I can kind of get into this. If you need 30 minutes, the part of the reason why I love playlists, and I feel like I'm just kind of overdoing it with the playlist thing, but part of the reason why I love playlists is because I can make a playlist that I know is 30 minutes long.
Mhm.
Might be 31, might be 32, whatever, right? But give or take, average song is about 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes. So if you get 10 good songs, you're probably going to have about 30 minutes, right? So make a playlist, right? Of stuff that you would want to hear, things we want, and you can look, like, when it's done, you can see how much time that playlist is. And just put it on, give yourself a minute, or like give yourself like an extra 15 minutes, just kind of wind up into it. And when
Mhm.
it's over, if you're ready to stop, stop. But if you're not, put it on repeat. You know what I'm saying? And you can just, or like then you'll be like, well, let me do another playlist. I just think stuff like that is kind of like, you know what? I want to spend 30 minutes to an hour doing this thing that I just enjoy doing. Make a playlist. Put a playlist on that is just like, put on a Gundam building playlist, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, and do different ones. Do one when you're feeling a little ratchet that day and it's all just ridiculous hip hop that sounds like something you would never let your mother know you listen to. But then,
Like jokes and
have the
sexy
one,
red.
all day. Leave him alone.
Don't you fuck.
My man got a
No.
BBL Drizzy playlist.
Right.
Nah.
Pull up with
right?
the
But
windows down, bumping it.
Sexy Red gets
just
thrown all the way out the window.
think about doing something like that. It could be video game music. It could be stuff from
Hmm.
Gundam. It could be something, right? But
Oh, that is a playlist.
sometimes the mood you need
Hmm.
is different from the mood you think. Sometimes I need to listen to murder music. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. I need it. You know what I'm saying? Ray said, nah, bro, playlists are crucial, so crucial. I agree. I just think that they're a really good way to like set a timer without setting a timer. Because when you set a timer, it pushes my anxiety up. It makes me like, all right, I only got so much. But like if you're doing a playlist, and especially if it's random, like you're just kind of letting it play. And when you hear a song you've already heard, like if you have it on random and you set it to repeat, when you hear a song you've already heard,
Yep.
you've gotten to the end. But it's a lot less jarring than having like an alarm go off or
Right.
have, what I'm saying, something beep at you or whatever. It just kind of allows you to be like, all right, cool. And you also have to allow yourself to be comfortable with like, I'm actually at a good stopping place. You know what I'm saying right now? Maybe I need to do this one last thing and then I'll be at a good stopping place. And I know I can easily pick it up when I come back to get started the next day or whatever it is. I just think that'll be a good thing to do. And Sam, what about you, man? Like what can you start to do to kind of chip away at some of that additional weight that's sitting on you that isn't going to Vegas or getting on a cruise, because that's also a lot of weight, right? That's on you. So
Probably getting back into being creative and getting back into creating stories that I have been writing and creating for freaking years now that just are sitting on my hard drive, but never leave my mind. So getting back to doing that, like really flushing these stories out, growing them. There was one time I was writing a novel for a while and stopped that and went on to other things. Uh, I think it's something more in getting the creative space in that type of way just out. At least if I'm just writing it down for myself or whatever, just trying some things out. Like I've told y'all, always had a thing to create an AMV, maybe really looking at that and trying to just make one the way I want to, like the vision I have in my head myself, maybe doing something like that are ways I'm thinking of at least trying to. So I'll start there and just, see how it goes.
give yourself 20 minutes. You know what I mean? And just open a pad, bro, and see what comes out.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it don't have to be, nothing crazy or whatever. For real,
They do all the
op-
time in my phone.
hey, look, open Chat GPT and just ask the joint for a prompt.
Oh, that's cheating.
No. Don't have it write it for you. Just ask
Uh,
it for a prompt and then write about, like, just try to write something about, that prompt. I love to write. I haven't done it in a long time, but love to write and create, do stories and stuff like that. It's just not, I stopped doing that and started doing music. And when I stopped doing music, I stopped doing all of that, mostly. So, like, just give yourself a prompt, you know what I mean? Or like take something that's like one of your favorite things. Look, bro, it's okay to write a little fan fiction, you know what I'm saying? Like you can do a little fanfic, you know what I'm saying? Like, what if Batman was a superhero? Like you could write that joint.
that'd be too boring. That'd be way too boring for me.
I mean, how would you make Superman good? Like, how would you make him
You
worse?
can't make Superman good. He's
I'm
Superman.
just, all right. So then write the
Maybe
joint
you
where he
No,
could.
dies or whatever. But,
I
like, I
can
don't know
make.
what
Of
to
course,
say.
I can
Like,
make Superman good. You just have to, go the injustice right. You got to make him a, asshole
yeah,
bad
make
guy
him
for the
bad
most
to make
part.
him
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
That's interesting.
He's too freaking powerful. Yeah.
Um,
So making them bad is the solution.
It's too much of a goody two shoes.
maybe
You got to dust the Boy Scout off of him. You got to dust all that off of
gotta
him.
get a little that.
Yeah,
Got a
he got to
little
be a little.
that.
He
Yeah.
got some grittiness to him. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
He gotta like in high school. He gotta like shove one dude a little too hard.
Too
Like, he
hard.
gotta have
Like
him pulled
right into the
just to let
lockers
him
from the
know.
other side. Like he
Yeah,
sinks into it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just a little, just so they know. Like he might, hit a little head check. Um,
I know all too well, Doctor Who, that some people's fans fiction is so weird. Yeah, I know the
y'all
space
know
you're
what's
getting at.
crazy? Sonic the Hedgehog fan fiction is disgusting, bro. It's out there, bro.
No,
Hey, you know what though?
anime got the worst.
Some people got that. That Sonic joint gets real anime, real like you know. Um, look again. I think it's important to kind of take some moments to reflect on your own mental state, what's
Mm,
going on with you, how you, how we um deal with it, and how we take some moments to get ourselves into a place where we're a little bit better, than we were. I think we all wear a lot of hats and carry a lot of weight, and there are things that sit in the background, of our minds that are just there's a theater in the front, and nobody ever sees all of the background work, all of the editing, and the people who if you're watching a play, the people who make all that background stuff and do the lighting and all, you know what I mean, like all the stuff that people don't see, you're still doing all that, right? There's a lot that's happening behind the scenes. um and in the same way, when it's curtain call and you bring everybody out on stage and you thank all the people who did the work behind the scenes and so forth, you kind of have to think about your own mental health that same way.
mm,
You have to take the time to make sure that like all of that extra work that's happening behind the scenes, that you give it a break, that you give them a moment to kind of you know see the light a little bit. So try to make sure you do that, but also don't be afraid to check on each other, you know and or to reach out to each other. If you feel like you need to do so, do so. Before it gets kind of crazy. Maybe it's just to talk. Maybe it's to hang out. Maybe it's to play some co-op games or something, and beat some folks until you get the championship and hold on to it for like 16 years, right?
16 years.
16 years, bro. Um,
Undisputed, dog. We went on a Roman Reigns run like no other.
Smash Roman
The
Reigns,
Rock
man,
and Undertaker, classic.
out there holding it down. Yeah. So look, I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us. Jokes, you got a job to do.
mm-hmm.
Appreciate if you knock that out. Sin, I'm gonna give you a couple of minutes to just make sure that you get it. You know what I'm saying? Like no fumbly bumblies this time.
Nah. You said no. You said no. You said if you say bring it up again to say no. So no, we cannot run that at the end this time. That's what you told me to say
You right.
like 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
You right. You right. You're right. However, you bumbled.
so you got to
You
do it
dropped the
again.
ball. You know what I'm saying?
So
This
fix it
is
and then going forward, then you don't do it.
my man was like, man, I don't have to do this because you said
He had that mentally. He was ready
I
to
was,
go.
I was, I was, I was waiting for it. At some point, he gonna say something, and I got to remind him. But okay, let's shout out our top tier patrons. Starting with Anthony Cunningham, Marcus Houston, Susan Dortch, Tyrone Carson, Meticulous Skin, Alex Lee, Ellis Mbe, Kermit Ferguson, and Will Heward. Thank you very much. We truly, truly appreciate it.
it is an absolute fact. Thank y'all for hanging out with us. Do your best to take a mental break. Give yourself some time. Allow yourself that. It's that important. There are things that are important for you to do that can wait. Because if you don't take care of you, then you won't be there to do it. So please do that. Jokes, tell the folks what I need them to know.
Remember, y'all, just because you have a well thought out plan doesn't make it a good idea.
With that, we're out. Toodles and loose.
Loading snacks.
Oh, I think he gone
I
gone.
think he's stuck. So I think he's
I,
stuck.
I
So.
think he gone.
I got it.
Loading snacks.
Hmm. Hmm.